Hi everyone, and welcome back to Just with Dara. This is the 10th episode of season 2, which, yes, I'm sorry, my loves, it means that it is the last episode of this season. It's the season finale, and I won't be back for probably a month, maybe 2. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you enjoy this episode. As you can tell by the title, I'm talking about colorism in the Black community. I sorry, I thought about this episode this past Sunday, actually, and I just kind of realized, like, how come I never talked about this before? Like, it's kind of like something that I realized is very, like, okay, like, sure, more people are talking about it, but I don't necessarily know that it's really getting fixed per se. And I think it's on an individual level that you have to, like, kind of like train yourself to, like, not see, like, the shades, or not even see, not see this. Sorry, I meant to not let the shades of other people define define the perception that you have for them. Yes, that's a better way to phrase that. Sorry. So, yeah, I think I'm just gonna talk about how, like, but how I've grown up and kind of seen colorism, like, in different areas and stuff, like being that I am a Black person. So, for sure, to just say that, for me myself, I would say, I guess I'll just say, like, I'm brown skinned. I don't necessarily think I'm dark skinned, and I also don't consider myself to be light skinned. I think I'm just, like, that's what some could call a medium tone, like in the middle or whatever, I guess. So, yeah, okay. So basically, with the way, obviously I said this before, sorry, I'm 15, so, I don't have that much experience, but I'm just going based off of, like, how I've grown up so far, I guess. So I feel like with the way I've grown up, it's kind of been, like, ingrained in me to think that, like, being dark skinned is, like, not necessarily, like, a good thing. Now, when I say ingrained, I don't mean by my parents by any means at all, but I just mean, like, I want to say, like, maybe by, like, society and maybe, like, the other people around me, not necessarily my family, but just, like, in general, I guess. And it's crazy because when I thought of, like, doing this episode, I was thinking back on it, and I was like, wow, like, some of the things that I've heard people say, I'm just like, why would you actually say that? Like, things that are very colorist, like, and it just, it shouldn't be like that. So, like, oh, and I also want to say, though, and emphasize the fact that there's colorism against light skins as well. Like, it's not just dark people who can face colorism. Like, it goes in both ways, because it also goes with maybe darker Black people thinking that light-skinned Black people don't have the same struggles, or, like, they don't go through anything, like, they're just, like, good because they're, like, as and all of this boils back down to, like, being, like, the whole, like, white superiority thing, like, being as close to white as you possibly can be, because that's where it comes from, that's where it stems from anyways, thinking, oh, okay, white is right, so if I'm lighter, then that means, like, I'm good, and, like, I fit society's standards of, like, maybe beauty or intelligence or successfulness. Sorry, can't speak, but, like, things like that. And it's just kind of really, like, annoying, really, because the shade of your skin color in general doesn't define you in any ways possible, or in any ways, wow. See, guys, you know how I was talking before about how, like, I would edit things out? I told myself starting this, I'm not going to really edit anything. I just wanted to kind of be raw, so I'll just continue. But what I meant was in any way possible. Yes, that's the phrase for it. So, I just think, like, when I was, okay, so I remember this so vividly. When I was, like, I want to say I was, like, 6, maybe 7, I love how I just said I remember this so vividly, and I was about to say, oh, I don't remember this part. Okay, but yeah, I don't remember exactly what caused this, but I remember we were in a parking lot. Oh, yes, oh my gosh, I just remembered. Sorry. We were in a parking lot going to McDonald's, like, we were, like, going to eat there one night or something. And I remember my mom would always say, like, oh, like, I'm not going to get you guys, like, the Happy Meal because, like, it was more expensive or something. I don't know. So we just got, like, a basic chicken sandwich and, like, fries. And I remember thinking, oh, my white friends at school get the Happy Meal. I've never had a Happy Meal before. Then I was like, oh, I wish I was white, because that way I would get a Happy Meal or something. Now, granted, this doesn't completely relate to colorism, but that was, like, the first time that I was kind of, like, well, like, before, when I wasn't necessarily maybe, like, always okay in my skin tone, I guess. Now, a Happy Meal thing, that's such a basic thing, because then again, like I said, I was like 6 or 7, so like that's such a small thing. But then after that, as I like maybe like went to school more, and I realized, oh, okay, seems like the white people like around me, or the lighter people even, have like better advantages and stuff like that. And also, like, this is also a minor thing, and I know it shouldn't really affect me, but I've kind of felt as if like, so, sorry, okay, like I said before in my, I don't know, sorry, in the second episode that I did of my podcast in general about like the whole identity crisis thing, I talked about how at my elementary school it was predominantly white and all of that. When I was at that school, I felt, because majority of my friends were white, I realized that like whenever they would have like some kind of get together or something, like they would all go to one person's house. They never invited me, like literally never. Like I was in a group of like 5 people, and I would always get left out. And then I'd come to school talking about it as if like I'm just not there. And I was like, oh dang, that's kind of sad. But okay, y'all didn't invite me, but okay. So I also thought that was because of my skin color. Like I didn't think like too much in it, but I was just kind of like, oh, if I was white or even lighter, like they would invite me, which honestly, I don't know if that was the reason, because it doesn't really make any sense, but, like, that's just kind of, like, what my thinking was. And so, it's the fact that, like, as, like, an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, whatever, I was thinking that way, like, oh, I wish I was lighter, or I even wish that I was white. That's incredibly sad, because, like I said, it should not be taught, or, okay, let me not say taught, but it shouldn't be made to any child at all, to where they think, oh, okay, if I wasn't the skin tone that I am, then maybe people would like me more. Another thing with, like, the whole school thing is I also felt as if, like, okay, so, like, when people have, like, crushes and stuff, like, in school, it was, like, the boys would I'm not going to say all of them, like, majority of the time would, like, go for, like, the lighter people, and maybe, let's say, like, maybe if they're not white, like, they're, like, light-skinned, black, or something like that, and they never really went for, like, the darker girls, not, yeah, but, so that was also kind of like, oh, if I was like lighter, maybe someone would like me, something like that. That one didn't affect me too much, but I did have that thought, like maybe like once or twice. But I didn't. Okay, that one I actually didn't care about too much. But that was like I was also, when I told you guys that I was thinking of this episode idea, I was also thinking about that, like, oh, that kind of like that thought has definitely, like, it definitely came up like in my head before, like, oh, if I was lighter, like maybe someone would actually like me, something like that. But that is actually pretty sad that I kind of thought that way, because it's like I was wishing that I was lighter just for like a really stupid and dumb reason, like like I said, just that, like, so that someone could like me, and that was just kind of like annoying. And then another thing, like this phrase that I've not a phrase, or I guess yeah, phrase sorry, that I've heard a lot like before. So let's say like, okay, now this is in regards to my family, but like my extended family kind of. So, like so like my extended family, they're a lot darker than I am, and so I know like whenever I would go up to them or something, and like they would say something like, oh, like, you're light skinned, wow, but it's like, okay, like I said before, I don't consider myself to be light skinned. I consider myself to be brown skinned, because yeah, but anyways, the way you can tell, like, in their tone and the way they say it, it's like oh wow, like, good for you, you're lucky, like, you're light skinned and you're not dark skinned or whatever. And I mean, it's like, that doesn't, being light skinned doesn't mean that you're better than being dark skinned. Like, both are like good shades to be, like, it's okay, and it doesn't matter like if you're lighter, if you're darker, like, you're still like, it's just, I know this is so cliche to say, but like, it's just like your personality that matters. And like, I also know this is cliche, but yes, we are all human. And so I just feel like saying things like that, it kind of makes, then it made me think like, oh, okay, so being lighter is better. And you know, I'm not gonna lie, I've had times where like I've even, oh, this is really sad, I've even like been prejudiced like against like other people who are darker. And like, let's say, okay, this is really sad, I need to work on this. And actually, I feel like I think I can honestly say that I have worked on it, because I've thought about it and I didn't even like realize that I was doing it. It was so subconscious. Like, let's say, so I do this a lot, like if I'm in a store or something with my mom, and I think, okay, like, let's say if we got like separated right now and I felt like I was in trouble and I didn't know what to do, and I was like, okay, like, who can I look around and see like who looks trustworthy for me to go to talk to, and like ask for help, like to like maybe find my mom or something like that. So every time, or find one of my parents or anything like that. So every time I would think about those things, I would automatically like look for, okay, it wasn't like I was looking for light skinned people, but like if I see like a lighter, it was typically, if I saw like a lighter person, I'd be like, oh, okay, I can go and talk to them, and like and I know that they can help me because they look trustworthy. But I never really thought about that way when I would see darker people. And that's like I said before, like that's like a subconscious thing, because like my small brain wasn't even realizing that I was really doing that. But now that I really like reflect back on it, now that I have thought about it, and I'm like, oh wow, like that's what I was doing, because it's been ingrained in my head that being lighter is better when that's not true. And so like there's no better of the two. Like I just think that they're both like all beautiful people. I also know that's cliche, but yes, I said it. We're all beautiful people. And so I just think that like I said before, I have to like work on that for myself and think back like, okay, like I should stop doing that, because that's me being colorist, and I don't want that term to be associated with myself, and I don't even want to think in my head that I have any like colorist thoughts or anything like that. So that's, oh, and then, okay, here's another thing. Yeah, so this phrase has also been said to me before, and it's actually been said to me very recently as well. So, like, when I go outside, obviously, like, because of the sun, I get darker, and I was outside a lot this past summer, and many people have said to me, oh, wow, you've gotten really darker. And, you know, if you say, like, oh, I got darker, like, that's just, like, a fact. Like, that's okay. Like, okay, yeah, like, I did get darker, but I feel like some of the people, I'm not saying all of them who have said this to me, but I'm saying some of the people, I feel like in the way they say it, it's kind of like, oh, like, that's sad, like, you got darker, and not from a health or medical standpoint. I mean, like, in the regards that it's like, oh, because like I said before, some of my like extended family would consider me light-skinned, so they're like, oh, it's like, oh, you're not light-skinned anymore, that's too bad, aw, shucks, well, like, now you gotta go and try to fix that, and it's just like, what? Like, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with being darker, like, and like I said before, you can tell, and like, it's all about like how someone may say it. So it's like, I know like in the way they're saying it, it's not really like oh, like maybe like your skin maybe like damaged. It's more like oh, like you're darker right now, like that's not, oh, like that's too bad, I'm sorry. So that's not even funny, why did I laugh? Sorry, but like that's not good, because it's like, again, making me think like, oh, lighter is better, which again, it's not true. And then there's another, this phrase is, okay, I don't know why I keep using the word phrase, like quotes, because these are things that I've heard people say word for word. So, we had, some people in my family, I went to go and see this woman who had just recently had a baby, and, like, we were, like, seeing the baby or whatever, and she had said a statement that said, and again, quoting word for word, she said, I was afraid that he would come out dark. These are Black people. The woman, she's not necessarily light-skinned, but she's not dark either. I mean, I guess some people may consider her light-skinned, but I wouldn't really. I guess I would just say she's brown-skinned. But, and when she said that, I was like, what? Like, I was like, what? If your baby was darker, what are you going to do? Like, give it away? What's that going to do? Like, I was just so confused. I was like, what's wrong if your baby's dark? Like, you can, that right there, that's like going to be, I really hope that maybe she changes her thinking in that sense, and it's not ingrained in her child that, oh, if like being lighter is better, because that sentence alone, I was afraid he's going to come out dark. That's like saying, oh, I was afraid to like go to the bank at night by myself. Like, that's like it was just like the way she said, she was like, oh, like, I'm so relieved he's not dark. Like, and like, if he is dark, like, what's that going to do for you? There's nothing wrong with being dark. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I mean, like, being dark skin is absolutely beautiful, and I feel like you should embrace that, because that is your child. And I mean, like, obviously I know she wouldn't, I was being sarcastic earlier with saying, oh, you're just going to give it away. Like, obviously I know she wouldn't do that, but I guess with that statement, there would be some kind of thinking like, oh, maybe like, oh, I wish my child was lighter or whatever, but that, like, you shouldn't think that way, because again, like, there's nothing wrong with being dark, and that's not good that you thought that way, and so, or that you may think that way. So I think it's just incredibly important that we all train our brains to not see the different, like, wait, I keep saying to not see, sorry, to not let the shades of different black people define the way we think about them. It's incredibly important that we do that. If you see a light-skinned person, you can't automatically assume that they have everything easy and that they're never going through anything that's wrong. And if you see a dark person, you can't automatically assume that maybe they're not trustworthy or that maybe they're not like intellectually smart or anything. Wait, sorry. Why did I say intellectually smart? Intellectual. Yes. You also can't assume that. And it's just like assumptions are so people assuming things like really irks me, because it's like instead of assuming all the time, like assumptions. I think assumptions are just what make people. I don't even know how to properly phrase this. It's just like assuming things about people when you don't know them, or like the cliche phrase. I keep using the word cliche. Sorry, judging a book by its cover is just what really could, like deteriorate you from, not deteriorate, but like stop you from maybe like talking to someone or something, and that's not good. Like it shouldn't be like that. So I think again we just need to train our brains and train ourselves to realize, okay, not like if you're lighter, that doesn't necessarily mean you're better, and if you're darker, that also doesn't necessarily mean that you're worse or anything like that. So it's just like, yeah, that's just annoying. And like I said before, it stems back to white superiority. The closer you are to white, the better you are. But it really should not be like that, because like it's just it's frustrating is what it is. And then also it's the fact that even within like black people, like in general, like as a whole, like we're all supposed to be united, because we're all black, we all like kind of like our answers are from the same place. But then we have like people who are judging other people who may be lighter, or lighter people judging other people who may be darker. Now, oh yes, okay, that's the other thing I was going to mention. So I this Blackish episode that came out, I want to say 2 years ago, but I'm not exactly sure about that. But it was a little while ago, and the episode was actually about colorism, because if you watch Blackish, like, the characters, like Dre's wife, Bo, she's light-skinned, and then their oldest son, Junior, is also light-skinned, and it was just kind of talking about how their youngest daughter, I forgot her name, I'm so sorry. I haven't watched that show in so long, but the character that Marseille Martin plays, I cannot remember her name for the life of me, I'm sorry, but she was talking about like how she was, I guess, I think it was like, I want to say that it was relating back to like school picture day, because like in the picture, like she looked darker than like everyone else, and they were just kind of talking about how like they were saying how like Bo and Junior have it like easy because they're light skinned, and they were saying like that's not necessarily true, because we have struggles as well. Sure, you may see me as light skinned, but white people may possibly think that you're supposedly better, but they're still going to see you as a black person, being that they are black people. And that episode just kind of, with that episode, I also kind of realized, because before when I thought of colorism, I always thought, oh, okay, like light-skinned people are like against, like, sometimes light-skinned people may treat darker-skinned people worse or something like that, or white people would prefer like light-skinned people or something like that. But then that also made me realize that you being light-skinned doesn't necessarily mean that you have it completely easy, because I know that you too can go through your own struggles just like with people assuming that you have everything easy, whereas you don't, because this is tricky. I can't speak for everyone, but I'm sure that for some people it may be easier, but it also doesn't necessarily mean that their life is all handy-dandy, and we should just stop assuming those things about people, and instead of assuming, like, actually try to get to know the person before you start making judgments about them. And in general, like I've said before, I think colorism is just, it's like, it's just, I don't even know, like, it's something that's so, like, it's perceived as if, like, it's normal. Like I said before, I know people are, like, kind of talking about it more now, but I feel like in some households, it's still, like, oh, okay, like, if I make a colorist mark, like, it's okay, but it's not okay. And, oh, yes, here's another example. I had someone, tell, like, so, like, my cousin and I were next to each other, and in this particular cousin, she's darker than I am, and I remember this person was talking to me, and they're like, oh, yeah, like, you're light-skinned, oh, like no pimples or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then they looked at my cousin, and I'm like, oh, but you're dark-skinned, And I was like, what? Like, this cousin is younger than me. So it's like, oh, you're kind of like putting into this little child's mind that her being dark is not good. So that's like the whole ingrained thing. Like, it's just like, it should not be taught to, like, especially at such a, like, as a child, like, you should not be thinking, oh, okay, like, I wish I was lighter, or if I was lighter, I would have things easier, or something like that. Because it's like, your skin is your skin. You obviously can't change it. And I think you just have to embrace it, because, and, like, in your family or outside people, like, maybe, yeah, your family or outside people, whatever, should not make you feel any worse for your skin color, or make you feel bad for it, or something like that. And, oh, okay, I know I keep saying, oh, sorry, but, like, this is also, I also just got reminded of this, that especially, I can't really speak for, like, okay, so, like, when I'm saying this, I'm speaking for, like, specifically, like, I know within, like, the Nigerian community, people, specifically women, do this a lot. I'm not sure if, like, other Black communities do it as well. I mean, I would assume some, of course, do, but I'm not too sure, so I'm not really speaking for that. So I'm speaking more from the perspective of, like, the Nigerian side. But I know that so many Nigerian women bleach themselves. Yeah, because they want to be, like, lighter, or they think, like, to fit society's beauty standards, if I'm lighter, I'm prettier. And it's just, it's so bad, because it's like you're literally harming your skin, like, you're bleaching yourself. And, like, they'll use all these, like, cosmetics and all these, like, skincare things that they think is, like, making them prettier, but it's not, well, I'm not saying it's not making you, that sounds kind of mean, sorry, but I'm just saying, like, it's damaging to your skin, like, it's not, it's, like, it's harming you, it's not necessarily helping you. And I just feel like when I see, like, these people who are, like, literally changing their skin color. So I guess earlier I said you can't change your skin color. Okay, apparently you can, but it's not natural, though. But, like, who are literally changing their skin color because they feel like that's the prettier version. I doubt that's not because of what they think. Like, they did not, like, just wake up one day and realize, oh, okay, I think being lighter is better. Like, it's obviously because of society, and it's what society has been, it's been kind of forced on you, like, oh, okay, being lighter is better, or something like that. And, you know, even when I was saying how, like, when I came back from England and I got darker or whatever because of the sun, and as some people had said to me, like, oh, you're darker, but not everyone said it in a way of, like a health standpoint, just like oh, that's too bad, you're not as light anymore. Even my brain was thinking, oh, I wonder what I can do to, like, get lighter or whatever, or, like, get my other, like, skin complexion back. But it's like, why was I thinking that way? And then this is sad, because this was, like, just a few weeks ago, and I shouldn't have been thinking, oh, okay, I wish, like, that I didn't get as dark, or I wish that, like, I actually used sunscreen or something like that, because I didn't use sunscreen, honestly. But, like, but my brain wasn't thinking, oh, how do I get back to my other complexion because of, like, health reasons, like, how the sun can be damaging to my skin. I was just thinking, like, oh, I look really dark right now. Which I don't look that dark, honestly. But, like, even if I did, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as I'm healthy, I guess. But, so it's just, like, it's so, like, prominent, and it's as if, like I said before, it's like they pass it off as if it's, like, normal to be colorist, or as if it's fine. And also, again, speaking with, like, in the Nigerian community, it is so heavily pushed that being lighter is better, and being darker is not exactly, like, it's not like they're like, oh, it's not good, but they're also not, I mean, it's not like they're saying, oh, it's not like they're saying, oh, it's bad, but they're also not saying, oh, it's good, per se. And, you know, that's just, like, it's pretty annoying. And, okay, this also just reminded me of another thing. When I was in the second grade, I was in the third grade. No, I wasn't. I was in the fourth grade. Sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot for a second. Yes, I was in the fourth grade. So I was, like, 9. Yeah. Okay, so there was this girl in our grade at the time who happened to be the darkest person in our grade. Like, she was very dark, but, I mean, I feel like also with that, I think, in my point of view, I did feel like sometimes people kind of outcasted her. I'm not sure if it's for that. I don't know, but it may have possibly been, but I'm not exactly sure. So I don't want to say that it is when it may have not been. But I remember this one day we were sitting at lunch, and there was this kid. I can't remember exactly what they were saying or whatever, but maybe she said something to him, and then he got a bit upset or whatever, and he was black as well, and he responded back, and he yelled across the cafeteria. He was like, "Shut up, you black Oreo." And he said it to hurt her, of course. Like, it wasn't like, "Oh, like, you're dark, you're beautiful." It was like, you don't look good, like, you're so dark, this is bad, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, at that time, I didn't think too much of it. I was just like, oh, that's kind of rude. But I was thinking it's rude because he yelled at her to shut up across the cafeteria. I wasn't thinking about the fact that he was literally taking a shot at her skin color. And that right there is colorist, because if she was lighter, he would not have, like, he probably wouldn't have said anything about, like, her skin color or whatever. And that's just really, like, why try to judge this, or not judge, why try to bash this person and like I said, he said it to hurt her. He knew what he was doing. His small little 9-year-old mind knew what he was doing. Yeah, he knew what he was doing. He was like, I'm going to say this because I know this is going to hurt her. Because I feel like people have maybe mentioned something about her being, like, really dark skinned before as well. And I don't know if it really affected her, but it may have possibly did. I'm not sure. But that's just, like, another thing. Like, why is someone focusing on, like, her skin color right there? And also, another thing is that I've also really, like, sorry, just said also too many times, but what I've heard before about people saying or doing whatever is that when, let's say, like, maybe, like, a black person and a white person get together and they have kids, and I would kind of hear things like, oh, I hope that my kids don't come out too dark from, like, the white person's side. Not necessarily the white person who's, like, the parent, but, like, maybe, like, their family side. Like, oh, like, I hope the baby doesn't come out too dark. And this even goes back to, like, 'cause, you know, like, with what happened with, like, Harry and Meghan, with someone in the royal family saying, oh, I hope the baby doesn't come out dark. Like, okay, if the baby did come out dark, what's that going to do for you? Is that going to, like, harm you in any way? No, it's not. So, just, like, things like that. It's like, what's wrong with dark-skinned people? Like, there's nothing wrong with them. They look absolutely amazing. Light-skinned people look amazing, too. Brown-skinned people look amazing as well. So I just feel like you judging them or bashing them for whatever they look like should not be a thing, because it's like, why are you doing that? I mean, they're just people, just like they're trying to live their daily lives, going on around about themselves and trying to just survive. And you're just being annoying and rude. And another thing is, okay, so I was saying, like, with the, maybe like that, maybe the white person side of the family would say, oh, I hope the baby doesn't come out too dark or anything. But, you know, even on the black side, there may be a family member who maybe even says something like, oh, I hope the baby doesn't come out too light. And that's another thing. What's wrong with being too light? Because it's still a child that's being brought into this world, and you should just embrace the child and love the child. You shouldn't be thinking about their skin color. Like, I feel like the most important thing is, especially, like, with bringing a child into the world, is their health, not, like, what they're gonna look like. Like, that shouldn't even really cross your mind of, like, oh, I hope they're not too dark, or oh, I hope they're not too light, or anything like that. So that's just kind of like, yeah, that's just annoying. And I also wanted to say that I recently watched this Jubilee episode on YouTube it was a Spectrum video, and it was about do all black men think the same? And they had a prompt in there about I prefer light-skinned people, or something like that, I think. And basically everyone went to, like, the disagree side, but this one guy, he did go to the agree side, and he went there because he knew that subconsciously he does look for light-skinned people. He's trying to train himself, like, not to, but it was because of the fact that he's dark-skinned, and growing up, he was always teased for that and, like, made fun of for that, so he just kind of thought, oh, okay, like, maybe if, like, I'm with, like, a lighter person, then, like, it'll be okay. He was also saying about how, like, if, let's say, like, if he has children with this lighter person, then his kids won't have to, like, go through the same struggles that he went through. And, you know, because at first when I saw this guy go to the agree side, I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, we don't, like, what's wrong with you? But then I heard him speak, and I was like, you know, that's actually really sad. It's really heartbreaking, because he's thinking, like I said before, he's obviously trying to, like, train himself to, like, not to, like, put, like, such an emphasis on, like, oh, if they're lighter or darker or whatever. But he was thinking, like, in regards to his kids, because he doesn't want his kids to, like, go through, like, the same struggles that he went through when, like, he was growing up, because he was bullied for, like, his skin color. And it was just like, oh, wow, like, that's incredibly sad. And because it's like, you know, like, you've been taunted and haunted so much for your own skin color that you're thinking, oh, maybe if I marry a lighter person, then my kids won't have to go through this as well. And it's just kind of like, see, that right there is the problem. Like, why is it that we feel like, oh, okay, being lighter is definitely better, and if that's the case, then I hope that my kids are light as well, so that like they're not teased or whatever. And maybe that's what was going through that person's mind when I was speaking earlier about the example of when she said, oh, I was afraid that he would come out dark. Maybe that's what was going through her mind at the time. Maybe it's not really like she particularly cared, but she didn't want the child to get teased or bullied. And again, that's just, it's sad because that shouldn't be the reality of things. However, it is. And I think all of us can do our best to change that and fix that. Because, again, another cliche statement, whatever, change starts with us. And it starts with how you perceive the world around you. It starts with how you perceive the people around you. And if you tell yourself and you think to yourself, I am not going to judge anyone by what they look like or by their skin color or anything like that, and you tell yourself, I'm only going to judge based off of character, not based off of their skin complexion or even their race or anything like that, or any other thing that could maybe make you judge them, like religion or gender or anything like that. I think it's just really important that we tell ourselves, like, I'm not going to judge them or anything like that. So really, I think I feel like if I continue on, I'll just continue repeating myself. But this comes to a close at this episode, actually. Actually. And I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. I believe I enjoyed recording it. Yeah. And, so when I was saying how I may come back, I'm going to take a month-long break. Like, I'm going to. But, I am considering waiting until November, possibly. I have not really decided on that yet. Kind of depends on like how things go with like my school and stuff. Because also, like, when I was saying before, like in the previous episodes, it's been a lot easier because I was like doing school virtually, so I had like a whole bunch of time to like record episodes and stuff. But right now that I'm in school in person, like even like right now I'm recording this the day before, whereas before I would record them in like weeks in advance or at least days in advance. So kind of just all depends. I would like for it to be October, but I'm not gonna lie, it may be November. But latest would be November for season 3 to start, and I already have a few ideas lined up for that. So I'm really excited for those and a few other guests as well, and reoccurring guests too, possibly. Don't quote me on that, but possibly yes. And also I will say though that if I don't start season 3 in October, I will have a bonus episode in October for something that would be happening there, but I'm not going to talk about that yet. I'll let you guys see that when it does happen, but I will have that episode. And then I'm also going to have a bonus episode in September as well. So look out for those. Those will be coming up soon, but I may start season 3 in October. Who knows, I may start in November. I don't want to say which one yet, because I don't want to say that like you guys hold me to it, but I will at least be taking a 1 month long break, and at like max 2 months. So I just want to let all of you guys know that. I'm kind of still deciding, but I'll definitely be sure to like put it out on my Instagram which one I've decided. I'm leaning a bit more towards November, but we'll see. Maybe I'll have more time and I'll say October. I don't know, but I will do those bonus episodes for you guys, of course. So again, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And I'm not permanently gone, okay? Like, I will be interacting with you guys on Instagram, and you can always listen to the past episodes that you have not listened to yet, like in earlier season 1, because you guys can listen to those too, okay? So anyways, I guess I'm just rambling now, but I once again hope you guys enjoy this episode. I hope you have a lovely weekend, or whatever time you're listening to this. I hope you have a lovely day, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. And I look forward to starting season 3 with you guys. Bye.